Hello everyone. Today we'll be exploring vectors. Vectors are very advanced data structures in C++ that are used in everyday use by programmers. They have the ability to not only hold data like an array, but to dynamically resize the vector as more and more data is inserted. They are often called dynamic arrays, or also known as lists. Okay, so before starting, the first thing we're going to want to do is include vector and include string. Make sure you have C++ 14 or higher installed. All right, so the first thing we're going to be learning about is how to declare our vectors. To do so, there are two different ways. So first way is you're going to write vector first of all, because that's the data structure. Then you're going to type in the name of your vector, so I'm going to call it new vector. All right, and then you can just immediately start to insert data, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You also need to specify the type, such as an integer or, such as an integer. All right. The next thing I'm going to be doing is specifying the next thing we're going to be talking about is the second way to declare a vector. So to do this, we're going to go vector. Then the next thing we're going to do is just write int, like before. And then we're going to write our name, right? So I'm going to call that, let's just call it vector2. All right, and then I'm gonna specify the size. So let's suppose if I want it to have a size of 6, and then I can talk about what I want inserted in the data. So I'm just gonna write 18. So what it's gonna do is create a variable of a size 16 and insert 18 into every single index. Okay, what's the error here? Oh, I forgot a semicolon. Okay, the next thing we're gonna learn about is how to index our array. So to index our array, there are two different ways to do this. First, you go cout. I'm just using cout to print out the data so that you guys can view it. So I'm going to go new vector. New vector. And I can just index it like how I would index an array. I could go to the second index. So I would just go, so the first thing I'm going to want to do just to run this is go g++, and then I would go -std is equal to c++ 14. So that tells it to use C++ 14. And then it just says the file and put it into main. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is just run this. So as you can see, we get the value of 2. All right. And just to make that look neater, I'm just going to put an end line. Now there's a second way to do this as well. And this is the much more efficient way. What I would do is go cout and two greater than signs. I would go new vector, and I would go .at the first index. So personally, there's no real difference between these two, but by using the second one, you can actually check for errors if there's an index error. All right, perfect. The next thing we're going to be exploring is getting the front and the back of our vector. So the front we can simply find is by going index 0, but oftentimes we don't know the actual size of our vector. We can do this by finding out the size, which I will get to later, but it's not that efficient. Instead, what we can do is we can write it like this. We can go cout, and we'll go new vector dot front. And we're just going to end the line here. End of the line, as they say. And we can do the exact same for the back. So we'd go new vector dot back. End line. Perfect. So now if I were to just run this, what's the error? Oh, end line. Okay, so I'm just gonna run this, and then I'm just gonna clear this out because it's messy. So if I were to just go /main, as you can see, we get the front, which is 1, and the back, which is 5. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to be exploring is called the sizing and resizing, which I said that we were going to get into. So to resize an array, we can simply do it like this. So the first thing we're going to do is just remove all of this. All right. So I'm just going to go, what's it called? Cout. So I'm going to go new vector. All right. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm just going to figure out the size of it. Or I'm going to first resize it, actually. I'm going to go resize, and then you can tell the resize. As long as it's greater than the actual size of the contents inside of the vector, it's fine. So I'm just going to go for 100. All right, and then I'm just going to go end line. Now we can also just print this out. So I would go count 2 dashes, new vector dot size. All right. Now, if I were to print this out, we should get 100. So compiler, what's the error? New vector dot resize. Wait, what's the error? Oh yeah, you can't really print out a resize, right? So okay, there we go. So basically what just happened was that you can't really print out the new vector dot resize because that's an action, right? There's no value to it, so it led to an error. So now if I were to just print this out, as you can see, we get 100. Now the next thing and the final thing we'll be talking about is called pushback. What pushback is it allows you to insert data into our vector without having to declare it initially. So to do that, we use pushback. There's a couple of different ways to do it as well, but this is the most straightforward. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, okay, so to prove that it adds to the end of the array, I'm going to first of all just print out the current size of the array. So do vector dot size in line. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go new vector, and I'm going to just push it back. So new vector dot pushback, and I'm going to add the index, or I'm going to add the value 6. And we can even view this by going new vector, and I'm just going to go dot at, and I'm going to just calculate the index in my head, which should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 5. And end line. All right, and then I'm also just going to print out the size of the vector once more. I'm doing this to show you guys that the vector itself dynamically changes in terms of size. All right, and it should work. So let's see, semicolon. Okay. All right, and I'm just going to go dot slash main. So yeah, as you can see, it starts off at 5. Then I print out, since I inserted 6, and then I find the index from 5, and I get 6. And then I actually check for the size of the array, which is also 6. So as you can see, vectors are a very advanced and very interesting data structure in C++. You can dynamically change the size of this vector, and you can even insert, you can find the front and the back, you can index it, and index it. There's a lot more to vectors that I haven't discussed because I feel like that's too advanced for one video. But if you guys are interested, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day.